I had to delay the first episode of my animated series. The film I've been hyping up for almost 4 years, I had to delay it until spring because it just wasn't ready to be released. Naturally, as you can imagine, not the greatest feeling in the world. For me, it's mainly because when I watched cartoons as a kid and in my teens, I hated having to wait months to see new episodes of my favorite shows. And when it came to making a show, I guess I feel like I've kind of dropped the ball. Well, this isn't a video where I mope about not posting a self-animated short on the internet on time, but it is a video about how you guys can post your self-animated series online and meet your deadlines. So let's get started. I don't know, was that a good enough intro? I kind of just want to get into this, so yeah, here we go. First of all, let's identify the who, what, where, and why of what we're doing here. What are you doing? Making a series of animated films of various or predetermined lengths in an episodic manner. Who is doing it? You, the viewer. Where are you doing it? I recommend making your series on the internet because it's less risky and most of the time it's free. Why? Because animation is awesome and you're tired of seeing these Joe Schmoes get commissioned for shows. So let's put it all together now. You're making an animated series on the internet because you love animation, or whatever other reason. You guys commented on the last video with a ton of them. And it was really interesting to hear from so many people about their reason for creating their series or artwork in general, so thank you guys for that. It was truly moving to read all your comments. Anyway, this is no small task, partner. Like I said in the last video, making a series of short films is a lot of work, so you're definitely going to need a plan. So without further ado, how to develop a plan or schedule for your animated series. Disclaimer: I am not a professional animator and I've never worked in the animation industry. I'm currently in the process of animating the first episode of my animated series Castle Dark. If you want to learn more about Castle Dark, you can head to the official website with the link in the description below. Step 1. Experiment. If you're new to making animated films, or you just haven't done it to such an extent as this, then I do not recommend that you drop everything right now and create a seemingly foolproof schedule to animate your animated series, for 2 reasons. 1. You don't know how much animation you can produce on a regular basis, or in my case, a daily basis. 2. It's impossible to know when you should have something done by if you haven't already established a routine for said task. 3. Bonus reason. Lacking the experience of following a rigid schedule could leave you unprepared when facing obstacles such as creative block and burnout. Plus, you do not want to disappoint yourself for not completing a certain task in a certain amount of time because you realize that you bit off a little bit more than you can chew. Instead, as you start working on your series, develop a production routine. For example, I told myself that I have to work on Castle Dark for 1 hour every single day. Then, I track my progress on each day's work and how long I spent doing it. It's good to keep a planner with times and dates so that you can track down how long you're able to keep up your schedule. And if you do run into obstacles such as burnout or creative block, you can see the patterns in your routine that led to it. For example, on my schedule, from the 23rd to the 25th, I stayed on task doing at least an hour each day. But on the 26th and the 27th, I did less time than required and ultimately did nothing. What's good about this is that I can reflect on those days and identify exactly why it was that I lost the gumption to stay on task. Also, during your testing phase, include all the steps that make up the animation process, such as storyboarding, animation, and final animation as well. These processes can really vary in the amount of time they take to complete, so make sure to gather your data on how long it takes to finish a task for all of these processes. For example, how long it takes you to animate a scene, how long it takes you to storyboard a scene, how long it takes you to do the line work and colors for the scene. Stuff like that. Okay, moving right along to step 2. Be realistic. Once you've done your experiment and found roughly how much animation you can realistically do within a certain amount of time, then you're ready to start implementing an animation schedule into your daily, weekly, or monthly routine. And the reason I say realistically is for this reason. Just because you can do a certain amount of animation in a certain period of time does not mean that you should. For example, it is possible to spend 4 hours animating every single day, but that can easily become very difficult to keep up with, not to mention the burnout you would feel for your project. The thing you want to look for when developing a schedule is how long it takes you to make X amount of seconds of animation. That way, if your film storyboard, which you should definitely make, possibly a future video, is 4 minutes long, and you can make 30 seconds of animation in 1 month or so, then, using math, your project should take around 8 months to complete. Also, if you find it necessary to give yourself time away from animating your series, then do it. Taking time away from your large project can be very beneficial to the quality of your work, as long as you don't take too long to get back to it. Step 3. Overcome obstacles. Burnout, as stated by Merriam-Webster, is exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. One week, I decided to push myself to the limit and complete an entire complicated scene in 7 days. I worked an average of 3 hours every day and finished the scene before the week was done. After that, it took me 3 whole weeks to get back to working on my film. The lesson? Stay motivated by doing just enough each day, not too much so that it becomes a burden, and not too little so that you can keep up with your schedule. A few days ago, I suffered creative block when starting a scene. I needed to meet a certain quota for the week, and I just didn't feel like drawing at all. Every line that I drew seemed off, and I started to get frustrated while I was working. Well, instead of calling it a day, because I wasn't going to make any good drawings anyway, I continued to draw, though I knew I could do better some other time. The lesson? You're not always going to feel like drawing all of the time. In fact, you may find that some days it's just not looking as good as you know that you're capable of. However, whether you draw well or not so well, adherence to your schedule is what is going to make your production a success. If you keep your goals in mind, it'll help you to regain your drive and invigorate you to keep making great artwork. Well, folks, that's it. In order to develop a production schedule for your animated series, you have to experiment. Develop a workflow that works for your current situation. Be realistic. Don't overwork yourself and make sure to implement breaks into your schedule. Overcome obstacles. Work through your troublesome artist moments to meet your schedule requirements and boost your confidence in your abilities. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 2 of Making Your Animated Series. I really love this series, guys. It comes straight up from my heart. I just want you guys to know that. I got tons of comments on the last video. I read them all, guys, and I'm so happy that so many people are seeing episode 1 and that people are excited about this series. So I hope you guys find this video helpful, because it really, really warms my heart to see how many people are actually want to make an animated series and are interested in this topic. So thank you guys for that. I did get some comments pointing out that episode 1 was more of a motivational speech rather than a tutorial for animation. But if you guys also want to learn how to animate, you guys can check out my brand new playlist, Learn to Animate in OpenToonz 1.3. OpenToonz is a free 2D animation program which is completely full-featured and has everything you need to make your animated series. And if you guys want to learn how to animate, go over to those videos over there. They're really helpful for beginners, and I kind of take you step by step in order to learn how to make animations. And I will be continuing it and expanding the topics discussed in that series as well. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, by the way, my name's Sebastian, and this is Noble Frugal Studio. I forgot to mention that. Peace.